Hello and welcome to the Sharp Edge podcast, where we provide valuable insight and advice on the marketing and other business type questions that painting contractors encounter as they work towards achieving their goals. Now here's our hosts, Martin Morgan and Becca Hackley. Welcome to the Sharp Edge podcast, a podcast that's all about being the ultimate marketing and business resource for painting contractors. Martin and I are going to go beyond SEO and talk about the three-step process that consumers use to find and contact a local services business online.
That's right, Becca. And most often when people think about their website or their online presence, when it comes to the website or search, they're thinking mostly about SEO, and they may have, which is search engine optimization, and they may have heard a fair amount about search engine optimization, and it seems like that always takes the headlines. But there are some intricacies that are really beyond SEO. They're a little bit a part of SEO, but they go beyond SEO when done right. And when it comes to truly leveraging your website to help you be found and chosen, and really the chosen part is often the things that are overlooked a little bit. You have to think of those steps that a potential customer takes to get there.
Well, yeah, for somebody like me, if I'm looking for any service and specifically related to painting, the first thing I'm naturally going to do is go on my phone or go on my computer just to search for something online and see what populates.
Right, absolutely. And the funny thing is, I've said, okay, SEO, and we're going to look at these things beyond SEO. But yes, it does start with SEO. And SEO is the big thing that helps you to be found, that helps you show up on those search results. And you're right, that's what people do, right? We go to the website, we might look for painting contractor or house painting, and a lot of times it'll default to near me. And a lot of that work that is done in the SEO process when it comes to setting up the proper architecture, when it comes to building content, to filling your website with lots of content that's going to help you get found, when it comes to getting those links. Those are definitely all important. And those are the things that really significantly contribute, along with other things as well. That's a little bit of an oversimplification. But when you think of search engine optimization, when you think of SEO, it's much of that, of those things there. Those are the things that really help you beat out your competition in those organic search rankings. So you can claim, first page, top 5, whatever it might be. A lot of that is affected by SEO.
Well, you said the difference between being found and being chosen, which is chosen is kind of like the big part of really what a business needs. They need to be chosen. Just because they're found doesn't mean somebody's going to pick them.
Right.
So, of course, that's where SEO comes into play too as well. But Martin, if I'm a painting contractor or just starting up with my business, does longevity of my website affect organic search results at all?
It can definitely have an impact, and it's really the domain that you have. So let's just simplify this and say that you're a painting contractor, you started your business up, you've got it's Becca's Painting, and so you built out the domain, beccaspainting.com. And depending on where, how long that domain was in play, it can affect your organic search rankings for sure. It doesn't always, it's not like, oh, the number one factor is how long your domain has been in play, because that would prevent anybody that was new, and you might be the best choice if somebody is searching for a painting contractor in your area. If that was the case just by domain age, it would give such a huge advantage to people who haven't been in business longer, probably an advantage that wouldn't be as earned. So it does affect it, but it's not the only thing that matters. There's lots of stuff. So if you were new, if you were building a website for the first time, there's lots of things you can do from an SEO standpoint that's going to help you move up the rankings.
I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I do have to ask. So let's say I bought beccaspainting.com 5 years ago. I bought it and I have it and it's up, but nothing is happening to the website. Does that translate to anything? Whether it sits there and nothing happens to it versus me touching the website and making changes and updates.
And so if you're looking just at pure age, sure, from the time where that domain was launched,
Like
was put out there,
clock down.
it can have
Okay. Okay.
right, it could have a little impact. The thing is this though, that the challenge is that Google's going to send its spiders out to check on the domain. And if it keeps going to that domain, to beccaspainting.com, and it's finding nothing, then it's just going to stop looking until something happens that notifies it that it needs to go back. And I can't claim at all to know the details of how Google sets up their algorithms. And there are very few people that
You
can.
mean you don't work for Google, Martin? I thought the whole time you were a Google person.
Crazy, right? And I don't even want to, but we've got some really good educated guesses put forth by experts who have been watching these things and testing and doing lots of stuff to find the answer. But as much as my thought on that would be is that Google's going to notate when there's activity there, when it's legit. So if somebody bought, and you even said, I think 5 years ago, but let's say somebody bought it 10 or 15 years ago, just in the anticipation, and they bought a whole bunch of domains, which some people have definitely done, like domain squatting type stuff. If there was nothing ever built there and Google didn't find anything and they didn't find anything reputable or credible or any of those things, then you're not really going to get credit just because the domain was bought. Right. Until you've got something that's actually there and gives Google a reason to crawl. That's really where they're going to start noticing it and kind of giving it the credit for what it deserves.
Okay, so thank you. I'll climb out of my rabbit hole now. But so
pull yourself up out of there.
Yeah, I'm out. So after a customer is actually searching for something related to painting and finds a business in the organic search results, what is going to be the next best way a painting contractor can be the one that customer chooses?
Great question. And that is one of the key things. Again, something that is often underestimated and not thought of very often is this step, right? It's not enough just to show up in those rankings. You want people to click on your listing that's there. And it's really the click-through rate, right? So it doesn't do you any good if you just keep showing up in the search results, but nobody's clicking there. So you've got to make sure that you've done everything that you can in order to get people to click on your listings. And those are focusing on things like a title tag and a page or page title, page description.
So in terms of page titles or page descriptions, any tags, I'm not super familiar on that. So where are those located, and how come they're the reason that it helps a customer just like being found and clicking and all that?
So the page title, that's really like the headline that shows up right there, and those are
right on Google when I search.
Exactly. So if you look for a painting contractor and you get that grouping, that's that headline really that appears up on top where you would click into. So somebody clicks into that. So that's the page title. And what you want to make sure is that those page titles should appeal to people who are looking for a painting contractor, if that's one of those keywords that are important. And then that description is what appears right under that. And a lot of times what happens is people pay no attention to these things. They pay no attention at all. And so what ends up happening is that you see a page title that's not at all optimized to get people to click on it. You might even see something that says like homepage, and maybe it'll have the painting contractor's, the company name right
like
after
it's super basic, pretty much?
Yes, because that's the default of whatever system they use to build the website. And underneath there, at best, you might find where it's basically just captured as many words as possible from the very beginning of the homepage. And at worst, they may have something that doesn't have any description at all. And most times, sites that have that sort of setup don't even show up very high in the search because it shows that there's not a lot of attention being paid to the details, but that still does happen. And you want to make sure that that's not the case for you. You want to make sure that in that page title, it's something that's going to matter to the person who's searching. And that page description gives them a reason to click. You think like it very much like you might think of an ad that you might run or a mailing that you might do where you've got your headline and then you give people a reason to take action.
I was gonna even ask you what would be a good example of one of those, but that is right there is my answer. I mean, it has to be something relevant and something that makes sense to the searcher and something that is gonna cause them to react or respond in a certain way, right?
Right. Yeah. So let's use our same example here. You've got Becca's Painting, and we'll say we're outside of Raleigh, but let's say we're in Raleigh, North Carolina, and you want to be found for somebody who's looking for house painting. And so somebody search for house painting. You're looking at your page title and your page description. And so on your page title, you're going to want to do something like house painting, and then you can put, Becca's Painting, or you might say Raleigh House Painting and then put Becca's Painting, or you might say house painting and then put Becca's Painting and then say, Raleigh, North Carolina or Raleigh area type of a thing. And then in your description, you might put something along the lines of painting houses in the Raleigh area since 2020. And you may end it there depending on how much space you have. Or you might want to add a little bit more and say, we specialize in complete interior renovations, something like that. So for people that are searching for that, they see, okay, yep, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Awesome, it's right in Raleigh. That's where I am, and then that gives them a good reason to click there. And as I mentioned in the description, people don't often think about, oh, this is our chance really to sell somebody on why they should click on our page title.
Yeah, like the chosen one.
Yeah, sure.
So without
There's
a
lots of ways to get clicks. They don't always have to just be, straightforward, I suppose.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But so without the customer actually clicking on the website, it's clearly it's hard for the customer to contact you, unless you have your phone number right in front and center. But the goal is we want them to click on your website. So now let's say you were the chosen one, the customer is on your website, hooray. But how can a painting business quickly just let somebody know that they landed on the right website for them?
Very good question. And you think about each step of this process is a place where you could lose a potential customer. Somebody's searching for painting contractors and you're not showing up in the search results. You lost them. Somebody's searching for painting contractors, you're showing up in the search results, but you didn't do anything with your page title or your page description, but all your competition did, so they don't even bother clicking on your website. Now let's say, okay, you did a good job. You optimized your page title and your description. You got them to click into your website, but they get to your website and maybe they can't tell that you do painting. Maybe they look at it and they're like, ooh, I'm not sure about the credibility of this place because this website doesn't look very professional. Or maybe they get there and they're like, you've done a pretty good job. And they're like, wow, this is awesome. Great pictures here. But I can't figure out how I'm supposed to contact them. There's no phone number. There's no form opportunity. There's no appointment request. There's nothing there. So the big thing for number 3, there's certainly an element of presenting yourself professionally, making sure that they understand what you do and where you do it, because that is important. It's something that we see a lot of painting contractor websites really leave off is that local element, even telling people where you work, which I look at that and I'm like, oh man, that's so bad. Like people need
red flag.
know. Right, like, okay, yeah, they work in my area. That's important. And phone numbers don't matter. So a lot of people will think, oh, well, the phone number's up there. They know area codes. People are moving. They're all over the place, especially in an area like North Carolina, Texas, Florida, California, probably even. How many people do you talk to here where we are, and you get their cell phone number that nobody, a lot of people don't have the area code for where we are, because so many of them have come from somewhere else. So
I still have my Wisconsin one.
Exactly, right? So you can't make that assumption. So you've got to put your calls to action there to get them to take action. What do you want somebody to do? Do you want them to call you? Awesome. Call us now. Make sure you've got that there, or call us at. So you've got the phone number, and you want them to fill out a form online. So you've got some of their information. Make sure you've got that call to action, and don't just put it one place. Use it all over the place, because you really want them to take that action. So that's the way you can lose somebody. The third step is, either the website doesn't look professional, you don't tell people what you do and where you do it, and you don't have any calls to action on there, so they don't know what you want them to do. There's a really good book called Don't Make Me Think, which focuses on a lot of things related to web design, and that's definitely one of the things. Like, don't make people think too hard. Make it super easy for them. Have the click to call, have the phone number front and center. Tell them to give you a call, or tell them to fill out an appointment request.
I've actually been to so many websites that don't have anything clear cut of where I can call. Like, I think of places to get my hair cut, or even like haircut comes to mind mostly, but I just move on because it's irritating and it's like, forget this. But when you talk about CTAs, like call to actions, I mean, they can run in a whole different spectrum of how they come in different forms. Like, I've seen buttons or images, things that pop up on your screen. I mean, any type of visual elements. I mean, is there one over another that maybe you prefer?
I think there's various ways that you can do it. Certainly anything related to mobile, the preference would definitely be to have like some sort of click to call functionality, because people are just so used to being able to do that, and it makes it easy. You want to make it as easy as possible in most cases. In most cases, you want to make it as easy as possible. That may not always be the case. So let's say you're a painting contractor, you're just full of business, right? So you're not looking to just do business with anybody. You're looking to bring on new customers, to take on new jobs in those jobs that are going to be most profitable for you, or maybe bigger for you, or whatever your qualifier might be. So your preference might be to get them to fill out a form. So in that case, having a very attractive button that's an eye catcher is going to be helpful, or maybe even a pop-up. But from that standpoint, you just want to make it obvious to them exactly what you want them to do. And so you include that, you have them click, you have them fill out the form, and make sure you ask them for that information that's going to be relevant to you. So if you want to make sure you're able to kind of pick and choose the best jobs, make sure you ask them for exactly what type of work they're looking for, so that you can not necessarily just blow off somebody, but who maybe to get back to quicker than you might otherwise do so.
Yeah, I was gonna say not like who you prefer to work with, but if you have more information right off the bat, you're able to answer their questions right away and make the relationship smooth right from the get-go. But this is like a lot to unpack.
It is. There's a lot there.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot going for them just within the 3 steps. So I'm gonna do my best to attempt to kind of put them into a nice little bundle. But Martin, you gotta help me out if I forget something, okay?
Will do.
All right, here we go. So step 1, people are going to go to Google and they're going to search. You need to be able to be one of those first people that populate in the organic search results, thanks to SEO, so search engine optimization. And once we get that mastered, step 2, it's all about getting people to actually click on your website, which is like through the click-through rating, and that helps with the page descriptions and page titles that you mentioned. And finally, once we're on the website, we're ready to go, you really need to have a CTA, or a call to action. So how quickly can you get the customer to call you, to fill out a form, to do this, to do that, to be your next customer? Did I do it?
Hey, that was really good. Definitely really good, for sure. And I will again mention step 2, which you were right on there, Becca, but it is the one that is often overlooked, which is those page titles and those page descriptions. People don't think about that enough, and what's going to be appealing to somebody that's a potential customer. So that's a key one. Otherwise, I think you summed it up pretty well.
Good. So make sure you're the chosen one, right?
You're right. I like how you.
I can't help it.
That phrase. No, it's good. Very, very appropriate. And we here at ProPainter Websites, we are happy to help you in any way that we can. We hope that you found this beneficial. We tried to keep it kind of maybe a little bit shorter and sweeter and direct to the point, but we love talking about this stuff, so it's probably all my fault. I probably made it twice as long as it necessarily needed to be. But we hope that you found it helpful. Please subscribe if you have. We put out a podcast on a monthly basis, and our goal, as Becca says in the opening, really is to be the ultimate marketing and business resource for painting contractors. So please subscribe. We hope that you find it helpful. Reach out to us if we can be of any help, and we thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Sharp Edge podcast. If you want more information about this, please visit propainterwebsites.com and head to our resource center. We plan on hosting a podcast each month, so subscribe. You won't want to miss out. Also, we just have one last favor to ask of you. It would mean a lot to us if you would share this with your friends or other painting contractors. Our goal is to help you succeed, so you can help us achieve this goal by telling someone else about the show. Thanks again and have a great day.